Okay, so we're going to look at some addition, subtraction of two numbers, but of more than a single digit, with borrowing and carrying over. Because I know some people have trouble with this. To be honest with you, a lot of this stuff gets done with calculators now, so I'm not going to say, oh boy, if you can't do this, you can't graduate from our community college. But it's going to be a problem at your attempts on exam one and maybe some other stuff that you come into, because exam one is no calculator, and we are going to try working on some of this stuff and put it on some of our exams. So you do want to have some mastery of this if you're going to get a really high score on exam one. My question up here, what time comes after 7:19? You're looking at your clock, your phone, your digital watch if you have one. You watch it go to 7:20. What happened? Well, we went, 7 with a 1 followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then a 9, right? And then we got to 10 and there was nowhere to go. So what we did was we said, let's push this 1 up to 2 and make it back to 0. And that's what happens if you're watching the miles go on to a car. We used to watch them roll on the odometer, it would click, and now it's digital odometers. But still, when you get to a 9 and then that gets used up, this goes back to 0, but it pushes the digit to the left up by 1. Clocks are weird. After 7:59, it becomes 8 o'clock because we don't have 100 minutes in an hour. There's a good reason for that, dealing with the number of factors of 60. So like a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes, but a tenth of an hour is 6, and so forth. So 60 is better for hours for that reason. But the key is when we get past 19, we go to 20. When we get to 49, we go to 50, and things like that. We're going to see that occur when we do our addition. Addition is really adding two single digits in almost all cases, but sometimes that takes us above 10. And so we're not going to be able to write our digit large enough all in one space. And that's where, if we do this 7 plus 9, here we have 287 plus 469, we're going to see that when our total exceeds 9, we need to push to the next digit. So with addition is when our total for a column goes above 9, not 8, above 9, we need to push up the value of the next column. Now with addition, we're going to go to the left. You have to start on the extreme right when you're doing addition, so that as you find, oh, I need to add something to it, you push it. When you run out of ones, you can push it to tens. When you run out of hundreds space, you can push it to thousands and stuff like that. You go up to higher digits locations. And so you have to be able to add two numbers, get a result that's greater than 10, which will exceed what our finger count is, and then push 1 or 2, sometimes 3, depending on how many numbers you're adding, push that digit count up. Such as, let's look at this, 7 and 9. Okay, that's going to make me get 16. Now, if I have 9 fingers and I start trying to count above it, I get into trouble because I run out, right? I go to 10 and I'm like, what do I do with the rest of them? Well, what we do here is, if we want to see what that thing makes, let's take one off the 6, off the 7, make it a 6, and that will complete the 10. This becomes, take that down to 7, down to 6 and 1, leave the 6 up there, make that into 10 with the 1, and you're going to get 16. We got 16, not just 6. So we need to put a little tiny 1. You can make it the same size as the 8 and the 6. It's really no big deal. But people tend to make it tiny for whatever reason. Anyway, what that does now is it says, besides the 8 and the 6, I got that 1. So I'm going to take the 1 and add it to my 8 right away, get 9, and 9 and 6. If you can get 9 and 6 is 15, that's great. But if you have 9 and 6, how about we take 1 off the 6, make it a 5, and make that a 10, and we're going to get 15. So now we've got 15, which doesn't fit in that space where the 5 is. The 5 can go there, but 15 means let me push 1 up to where now the hundreds are going, and I get 1 and 2 for 3, 3 and 4 for 7. 756 is it. If your number, such as the 16 that I made, wouldn't fit where the 6 goes, I push 1 up above the 8 and 6, and my 10s now get my 16, there's my 6, and there's my 10, extra 10 to go to the rest. 9 and 6 is 15. I get my 5 to park right here, but I need to represent 15, so I push 1 up here. It actually goes to where the hundreds are. 1 and 2 is 3, 3 and 4 is 7, 756. Another addition problem. If there is no number that needs to go to the next column, then you don't push one to the next column. Let's watch here. 5 and 2 is 7. No need to push a 1, so we don't. 4 and 6 is 10. So for the 10, I can't write the 10 in one digit, so there's my 0, but the 1 from 10 goes here. 1 and 7 is 8. 8 and 8 is 16. Now if I have my 8 and I say I need 2 more to get to 10, then I can say get me 2 off of my 8 and give me a 6. When I make my 16, the 1 goes up here. 1 and 8 is 9. 9 and 9 is 18, I'll be done. Or, how about if I take the 1 and the 9, make a 10, take those two, and then add the 8 and get 18. 18,607. That's how we do our addition of multi-digit numbers, is we do it one column at a time, starting on the right. And if we can get right to a digit, we write the digit. But if we go beyond the digit, we put the last digit of what we made, 10, right here, and then the 1 pushes over to the next column. When you have not enough room to write in one column, you expand it out to the left with an addition to the column you're about to start working on. Okay, lots of people are good at addition when I compare it to the number of people who are good at subtraction. Okay, subtraction requires a whole separate group of knowledge. There are the subtraction facts that would be great to know. Any number from 19 on down to 1, being able to subtract anything that's smaller than it, that is anything from 9 down to 0 that you can subtract, right? So my thing is, you might want to look at, like, what's 16 minus 8? Wait a minute, I could do it if I had all 16 and plucked 8 out of there, but how do I do that in columns? This requires what we call borrowing. Some of you call it borrowing. I'm not here about pronouncing it. I'm just going to tell you that when we borrow a number, what we're going to say is, I need something that the other column has, so I have enough of a number to work with. So I want to take my 3576 minus 2819. And I want to address the concept of borrowing. When you need to do it and how do you do it. Is needed when our top digit, right? The top digit is what we're starting with. We used to call it the minuend minus the subtrahend. Don't worry about that. That's really weird, nasty words to have people memorize, but hey, I get to say that and that, and I got words for it. The number on top, the 6, minus 9 is not going to happen without going into negatives. Not allowed to go into the negatives. You are allowed to borrow from a stronger power, right? A stronger power of 10 number that we're looking at. So if you need to borrow, it's needed when our top digit cannot subtract our bottom digit. To do this, borrow 10 of what we want, taking 1 off the upper and stronger digit. Let's watch that happen. 6 minus 9 cannot happen. What we have is 76 minus 19, but what we have is, maybe we'll view it as 76 minus 9. Let's turn our 76 into 66, 66 for 60, 10 from the 70, so that's 60 and 16. There's our old 76. This has now become 16. 16 minus 9 is possible. Do you know 16 minus 9 is 7? If so, you're good to go with that. But if you don't, let's bring the 9 up to 10. What do we need to bring 9 up to 10? We need one more. So if that has one more to make 10, let's give that one more and make it 17. 17 minus 10, right? If we go with this thing, 17, and this plus 1 is 10. 7 minus 0 I can do, and the 1s are going to take each other out. So bring that up to 10 with a 1, bring that up to 7 with a 1. 7 is what your digit is. Now we have 6 minus 1, which we can do, so we go ahead. 6 minus 1 is straight to 5. That you should know. There are certain math facts. With multiplication, you probably got to learn, you'd think that I got to learn 100 math facts just to know 1 times 1 up to 10 times 10 is not true. It's more like 55. that you need to know. That's for multiplication. For addition, 5 plus 3 and 3 plus 5 are the same, so you don't have to learn 100 different things. You have to learn about 50 of them. With subtraction, it's hard to learn 6 minus 9, but you should know all the ones when the one on top is bigger. And when the one on top is not bigger, you're going to borrow to get there. And with the borrowing, you can't just say, give me that out of air. You got to take it from something that you got elsewhere. You're just reassigning the 10 out of your 70. One of them's gone to 60, and they join to make 16. Then you need to know 16 minus 9 is what a lot of teachers say. I don't think that's true anymore. One more for 10, one more for 7. You got a 7 down there. 6 minus 1 straight away, one you should know, gets you 5. 5 minus 8 cannot happen. So I go to my old 30, turn it into 20 with a big 2 there, and 15. 30 becomes 20 and 10. The 10 attaches to the 5, making 15. 15 minus 8. Some teachers think you should know that that's 7, which wouldn't hurt. But others might say, how do I make this a 10? Give me 2 more, get me 0. Give me 2 more, get me 7. And now 7 minus 0, 757. Done. I want to now look at 8439, 8,439 minus 5634, 5,634. And let's watch how this one goes. 9 minus 4 is straight to 5. Cool. 3 minus 3 is a 0. I can do that. 3 minus 3, 0. 4 minus 6 cannot happen. So I need to borrow. So what I'm going to do is take my 80, make it 70, take 10 off it to make 14. 14 minus 6. If you're a knower, someone who knows that's 8, then you can use it. If you're not, 4 more on the 6 gets me to 0. 4 more on the 4 gets me an 8. And that would be correct. 14 minus 6 is 8. 7 minus 5 I know to be 2. 2805 is done. How can you check that? Let's take my old 2819 and add 757 to it. Now we can check our ability to do addition. 9 and 7 is 16. Put 1 there. 1 and 1 is 2. 2 and 5 is 7. It didn't bring anything over, so now 8 and 7 is 15. Give me the 1 here. 3576. That was the number we started with. The number you got from the difference, add the smaller one back, you should hit the big one. So now, if I take my 2805 and I want to add it to 5634, I could put 5634 in either place. Let me put it down here. Because it's adding. 5 and 4 is 9, 0 and 3 is 3, 8 and 6 is 14, so I have to carry 1 over. 1 and 2 is 3, and 5 is 8439, 8439, and that's where the addition goes. That's how you do your multiple digit adding and subtracting. When you go past the 10, you're going to bring it over as a higher number in addition. When you don't have enough to do it, you're going to bring a 10 off the next size digit so you can proceed to do your subtraction. The other added step that I've added to subtraction for people is this completion of 10s. I got a 6 and I got a 9. If that was one higher, it's 10. If that's one higher, it's 7. And you get the 7 that 16 minus 9 will get you. So you don't have to memorize all those things. You've got to be able to make your 10s. And that's how we're going to do our multiple digit addition subtraction. Very good.